it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking peptide products that actually firm your skin. Now, you know what I always say about peptides? They're a huge class of ingredients and they don't always equal firming the skin, stimulating collagen, or addressing fine lines and wrinkles, right? They can do a lot. Don't just take these products at the word peptide. So today I have a very limited edited list of 3 peptide products that I personally have experienced a firming, lifting, and well-aging effect from. And I'm not going to gatekeep these from you. These are products that I think are properly formulated, quality that really do deliver. So if you're so ready to dive into these 3 products and all the peptides that make the magic happen, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. Peach and Lily Copper Peptide Pro Firming Serum. Now this serum does feature copper peptide, one of the most famous well-aging peptides out there, but it's actually not the only peptide in here. This is actually a very compelling mix of 12 additional peptides that help to address well-aging concerns, firming the skin, but also things like brightening and just overall enhancing and rejuvenating the skin. And this texture I think is going to be suitable for all skin types. So we do have 0.2% of copper peptide. Now, as I said, this is one of the most famous well-aging peptides out there, and it's really well known for its ability to help stimulate collagen. Not only does it help with well-aging, but it can actually be a great ingredient to incorporate into your skincare routine if you're helping to heal scar tissue, because it helps to break down the really lumpy, uneven collagen in a scar and help to create more of that smooth, even collagen. It also does have an antioxidant effect, and it can help to support other things within the skin that help keep it youthful and rejuvenated. We do have arginine or acetohexapeptide 8. Now you know this one because it's a very commonly used peptide. And a lot of people do refer to it as a Botox peptide. It doesn't do what Botox does to your skin. It's not that that strong, right, and that powerful, but it has a similar effect for helping to target the area of skin where you're a little bit more dynamic, where you have more facial expressions, right? Think like crow's feet, right? Or the forehead, or even around the mouth. You know, wherever we have more movement on our face as we get older, that's especially where you start to see the aging and the fine lines and the collagen breakdown start to occur. And so while this peptide does not help to stimulate collagen, and that's really the first foundational thing you need for fine lines and wrinkles, it actually does help with firming up the skin. It can be preventative for helping to lessen some of the damage of the dynamic movement, if you will, to the collagen structure. But it can also help to hydrate and plump the skin. And I think that's where you not only get that kind of firming or lifted effect with this peptide, but some of that smoothing effect as well, because when your skin is more hydrated, where you might have some fine lines and wrinkles is going to tent out and plump out just a little bit, and that line isn't going to be as deep. We also have palmitoyl tripeptide 1. It actually is an interesting peptide that kind of signals and tricks our skin into thinking that collagen has broken down, and that's how it signals to our skin to produce more of its own collagen. Along with tetrapeptide 21, this is another peptide that kind of signals and tricks our skin into thinking that we're losing collagen, which amps up and ramps up our body's natural collagen response. Tetrapeptide 30, this is a peptide that actually helps to brighten the skin. You know, these peptides are helpers, but they're working really hard, as I said, not just to firm the skin, but to contribute to an overall rejuvenated look. Aquatide 5000, that's actually the trade name for a much more complicated, long, and hard to pronounce peptide name that I honestly just don't want to take a stab at right now. So this is an interesting peptide because it helps to decrease inflammation, decrease dehydration or transepidermal water loss, and it helps to support the skin barrier. And you may be wondering, like, hold up, like those are all good things, but what does that have to do with well-aging benefits? And let me tell you, you know, first and foremost, inflammation, when you have prolonged inflammation on the skin, it actually can damage the collagen structure of skin. It can actually break down collagen in the skin. So we definitely want to get inflammation under control as a well-aging strategy, right? But then with dehydration, as I mentioned earlier, when your skin is very hydrated, it can actually smooth and firm, plump, and lift the skin. And so any existing fine lines and wrinkles that you may have on your skin will like improve in look quite instantly when your skin is properly and well hydrated. Acetyl tetrapeptide 5, this also goes by the trade name of eye Serum. This is an interesting peptide that you find a lot in eye cream or eye serum type products because it can actually help to reduce puffiness. And that can definitely be beneficial around the eye area, but it can also be helpful on our well-aging journey. Matrixyl Synth 6, this is one of the newest generations of the Matrixyl family. And this actually helps to stimulate collagen 1, 3, and 4, but it also boosts 3 other major components of the skin matrix, and that's what helps keep our skin firm and lifted. Now we have Matrixyl, good old school, like first edition, first generation Matrixyl. And this is still a good peptide, even though it has been out for longer. And it really does help to improve skin texture, as well as helping to improve fine lines and wrinkles. Dipeptide 2 is an interesting one that helps to increase lymphatic drainage in the skin. When you get that drainage going, your skin actually, the skin circulation is much better and your skin actually glows and looks a lot healthier. Tripeptide 1, this is an important peptide in this formula. It is considered a signaling peptide, which means it can help to stimulate or signal to our body to actually create collagen, right? So that's good. We want a lot of that in a product that is going to claim firming, right? But it's also an interesting peptide because it's a carrier peptide as well. And what it actually does, this particular one, it actually helps to carry copper peptide into the skin, deeper into the skin, and get it to the fibroblasts where the collagen is actually stimulated. Hexapeptide 9 is a collagen stimulating peptide. It helps with collagen 1 and 3, but kind of like the OG Matrixyl, it also helps to boost other components within the skin that help to contribute to that firm and lifted look. And then we have Nonapeptide 1, and this is an interesting peptide that helps to brighten up the skin, and it actually helps with hyperpigmentation as well. These all come together, like I said, in a multi-layered, sophisticated formula that's not just about copper peptide. You're getting the whole shebang in here. It's helping to address fine lines and wrinkles. It's helping to address dull-looking skin, puffy skin. It's helping to address uneven hyperpigmentation within the skin texture. And that's really the benefits that I see with this particular product. I've actually, I'm halfway through my second bottle of this one. I started using this last year, and I was really impressed with the results of it because not only did I feel like it firmed my skin, and that's what this video is all about, right? It's about peptide products that actually deliver, that actually do what they claim to do, and I really felt that with this product. Underneath my fingers, my skin felt firmer, it felt more lifted. But even when I looked in the mirror, I really remember my skin looking so much more refreshed and actually being a bit surprised by that because, like I said, you know, it says firming, so that's all you're expecting, but it goes the extra mile for your skin. And it's such a fantastic texture. I have no hesitation recommending this for multiple skin types, like any skin type, because it's so watery. It is very thin, very watery, very quickly absorbed into the skin. It's not sticky, it's not tacky, it doesn't have like a bounce or a plumpness to it. It really just layers into a multi-step routine beautifully. Geek and Gorgeous Power Peptides. This is a great firming peptide serum, but I've also noticed benefits with this for bringing out that inner glow and also not only firming the skin, but also smoothing the skin as well. And this has a little bit more of a creamy and hydrating emulsion-like medium texture. I do think a majority of skin types will still enjoy this, but if you're more on the oily side, it might feel a tiny bit heavy for you. What I love about this product is it's a true masterclass in peptides, not just in the ones that they've chosen to include in this product, but also how they've formulated it and the amounts that they're using, the percentages. They've been very transparent about the amount of peptides that they're using in the product, and not all manufacturers, like not all skincare brands, right, are doing that. They're using 3% of Matrixyl 3000, which is the clinical amount that's been studied for Matrixyl 3000's well-known benefits. which include helping to improve the look of fine lines and wrinkles by helping to stimulate collagen. But Matrixyl also helps with skin tone, texture. It helps to smooth out roughness on the skin. It can bring out an inner glow and help to even out the complexion. They're also using 2% of Matrixyl Synth 6. As I mentioned, this is kind of like the newest generation of the Matrixyl family. So Matrixyl Synth 6 boosts collagens 1, 3, and 4 within the skin matrix, but it also boosts the hyaluronic acid, the fibronectin, and the laminin within skin. 4% of tetrapeptide 21. Now, this is another one that boosts those important elements within the skin matrix, including collagen, but also hyaluronic acid and fibronectin. And this is an interesting peptide because, clinically it's been proven to start working at 0.5%. Like I said, peptides do work in very low amounts, and it has been studied at 0.5%, and it starts to show those great benefits for the skin matrix, right, and collagen stimulation. But there's also a study done by the manufacturer of this particular peptide, the Tegopep 417 trade name that it goes by, and they studied it at 4%. And that's where it started to show really superior benefits for helping with skin elasticity and firmness. And the final two peptides actually come together. We have 0.001% of copper palmitoyl heptapeptide 14, and the additional peptide here is heptapeptide 15 palmitate. Now these peptides go under the name X50 anti-aging. Now 0.001% of copper peptide is just a different version of a copper peptide, right? That doesn't sound like a lot. I have mentioned multiple times throughout the video that peptides do work in low concentrations, and this is an example of how that is possible. This is actually the studied and clinical amount for this particular peptide because it's not just the copper peptide, it's actually an encapsulated copper peptide, and that's where that additional peptide comes in, the hexapeptide 15 palmitate. That peptide actually encapsulates the copper peptide, and this encapsulation is actually a carrier peptide. And so it actually does two things. One, which we've already discussed, the carrier peptide which helps to guide the peptide deep into the skin and into the fibroblast where the collagen stimulation occurs, right? So it actually makes the peptide more effective and more intelligent at doing what it claims to do, right? And that is why they can use a lower percentage and it can still be just as effective and can show results in clinical studies is because of this encapsulation process. There's a lot of confusion, I would say a lot of discussion from people about copper peptides in general. Like, are they stable? Can they actually do what these studies suggest? Are they being deactivated by other ingredients in our bigger skincare routines? And these are questions that I can't directly answer because I'm just not qualified to do that. I am not a cosmetic chemist, although I do like to talk to them. And you can see that on my podcast, which is the Unpacking Beauty podcast. I love to get into the nitty-gritty details, but I think it's always important to state that I myself am not a scientist, right? I'm just a very, very geeky, very interested consumer, right? And I like to go the extra mile to learn how things work. So through curiosity and through chatting with cosmetic chemists with practical experience formulating skincare products, I have learned that really, when it comes to copper peptide, which is a peptide that is considered to be somewhat unstable, when you encapsulate it, you basically sidestep everything that I just said about it maybe not, getting to where it needs to get in order to do what it needs to do, maybe being deactivated. This is a big question mark. Does it, doesn't it? Maybe being deactivated by ingredients like retinol, right? Can you use these together? Just encapsulating it really just gets it just sidesteps all of that. It gets it exactly where it needs to go and gets it to do exactly what it needs to do. And so we don't have to worry about those things too much. The problem, what I'm saying with this is that is not something that is normalized in the INCI listing, right? So when you look at the back of a product, you'll see copper, peptide, whatever, but you're not necessarily going to know that it's an encapsulated peptide unless the brand wants to let you know that. And so that's the big question mark with copper peptides in particular. What I have learned from, like I said, talking to people with practical experience in the industry, formulating these types of products, if you encapsulate the peptide, you sidestep all of that. So like I said, it's intelligent on multiple levels here with this particular peptide. And so that actually answers a question that I've gotten from quite a few folks. Can I use this with a retinoid product? And this particular formula, because we know that copper peptide is encapsulated, you can. And Geek and Gorgeous actually recommends that you do use this with their retinol products. This has a kind of gel, hydrating, and kind of a creamy, moisturizing emulsion type of texture. And so it feels, when you put this onto your skin, it feels plumping, it feels hydrating, it dives deeper into the skin, but then we get this moisturizing effect on the top of the skin that just kind of hugs everything in. So as I mentioned, maybe not the very best for some folks with very oily skin, because there is a bit of a richness to this and a bit of a medium weight that may not suit you. But I think for combination skin, I think for dry skin folks, and maybe even oily folks who like maybe a little bit more of nourishment during the nighttime. So benefits. Wowie wow. You know, I've been talking about this quite a bit over the last couple of months because I'm kind of obsessed with it because of the results that it gives my skin. I was really just floored. I don't know why, because Geek and Gorgeous always comes correct. I think it's because I'm like, I don't really need that much firming. So it's probably more of a preventative product than, you know, something that's really going to show me results right away. No. I was so wrong. It showed me results like fairly quick. Consistently using this for a few weeks, all of a sudden I was like, my skin is firmer. I can feel my skin is firmer. I can feel it with my fingers. I can feel it in my bones and my body. And I'm seeing it in the mirror too. And as I mentioned as well, an additional benefit that they're not necessarily claiming, but I personally saw from this, is a smoothness to my skin texture. I am going to be very honest. You know, I do have a pretty strong active routine going right now that helps to address congestion and that helps, you know, with well aging in addition to these types of products, right, that help to stimulate collagen. But I've been on a pretty strict regime of the same products for a very long time now. And so this is something that I think has boosted that overall, has definitely added to my routine. I don't think it's just a coincidence. I think it's about everything working together. And I think that's really how we should approach these peptide types of products, even these intelligently formulated and very potent ones. They really, we don't want to lean just on one product alone, right? It's part of, like I said, that holistic well-aging process. Now let's talk about Stratia Interface. This is a gel cream moisturizer that is on the slightly lighter side. And so I think this is going to work well if you do have oily skin and combination skin, but it may not be the hardest working moisturizer for you if you suffer with dehydration or if you have a drier skin type. And this moisturizer firms and plumps the skin using 7 peptides, 5 of which are classified as EGF peptides, or epidermal growth factors. Now, this is a class of ingredients or peptides that are signaling molecules, and they help with cell growth, proliferation, as well as cell healing. We have SH oligopeptide 1, and this helps to address fine lines and wrinkles. SH oligopeptide 2. Now, this is an important peptide to pair with oligopeptide 1. There's a synergistic benefit to using both in a formulation, but this particular EGF peptide helps with cell proliferation as well as wound healing. SH polypeptide 1 helps with fibroblast cell growth and proliferation. Now, we've talked about the fibroblasts. These are the cells that help with the signaling to the body to create more of the good stuff, right? Including collagen. So, you know, yes, we want to get all the peptides that signal the collagen, but we also want lots of those good fibroblast cells within the skin that can actually make it happen, right? SH polypeptide 9, this is another one that helps to support the stimulation of the fibroblast cells, and it can also contribute to wound healing. SH polypeptide 11, another one that supports the stimulation of the fibroblast cells, but this is another peptide that can also help with collagen and elastin stimulation. And the final 2 peptides make up X50 anti-aging. Now, we've talked about this with the Geek and Gorgeous serum earlier. Remember, this is 2 peptides. It's a copper peptide that helps to stimulate collagen production that's encapsulated in a carrier peptide that guides that copper peptide directly to the fibroblast cell where it helps to stimulate the collagen. And so it all comes together in this lighter gel cream texture. It is really interesting because that texture actually really immediately makes the skin feel very hydrated and very plump. It really plumps and tense up the skin and smooths the skin. So you get a really nice benefit just from that alone. But then that kind of creamy texture just very gently hugs everything in. I personally, now as I say, I have combination skin. It leans a little bit more on the dry side. This isn't quite enough for me as a moisturizer. I can sometimes get away with it in the summer as my only moisturizer, but it's just not quite enough for me. And so just know that that's where I'm coming from with my particular review here when I'm recommending on skin types. It's not quite enough for me. So if you have a more oily skin type, or even your combination skin's a little bit more balanced or leaning a little bit more oily than it is dry, maybe you don't have dehydration, this should work for you. But I love it so much that sometimes I just layer another cream, like I layer it under another cream so that I can get that enoughness that I'm searching for in my final layer, right? But I just love what this does to my skin that it's hard for me to completely write it off. And so I use this a ton, like I said, underneath a heavier cream. I love this as a neck and chest cream because it's just the right type of texture for that. And it really firms the skin. It really plumps the skin. And it's not just from that hydrating gel quality that you find within the texture. You will get it on application, but you actually will start to realize that your skin is actually more firm, more hydrated, more lifted the longer that you're starting to use this, more plump as well. So especially if you have more superficial fine lines and wrinkles, I think you'll really see a good benefit with this. It is just a really lovely product. And like I said, it's formulated actually, I look at so many different peptides and different formulations and different combinations of peptides throughout all of the research that I do for my reviews. And this is a more interesting one that you don't come across quite as often. It's incredibly compelling on paper, but the results, you know what I mean? And the quality and the benefits that it brings to the skin are extremely compelling as well, that even me, like I said, it's not quite the match for my skin type. I'll still find a way to use it though, because the benefits are just that good. I love deep diving into the geeky details of ingredient lists, and I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into these 3 really proven Kelly approved peptide products. Let me know if you have a favorite peptide product that I didn't talk about today in the comments below. And if you love videos just like this and you want more information about skincare ingredients, definitely make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Come join our community and make sure to turn on notifications so you're never out of the loop. I hope you're healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world. I love you so much. Thanks for being here with me today, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Love you.